You can't finish things anymore. Not because you're lazy, not because you lack discipline, but because your brain has been quietly, systematically trained to abandon anything that doesn't deliver a hit in the first 10 seconds. You open this video because somewhere underneath the noise, you already know this, and it goes much deeper than you think. Brain rot has become a joke. People wear it like a badge. I'm so brain rotted, haha. Everyone laughs. No one changes, and the damage continues. But here's what's actually happening inside your skull. Your brain runs on dopamine, and everyone gets that part wrong. Dopamine is not the pleasure chemical. It is the anticipation chemical. It fires not when you feel good, but when your brain predicts something good might be coming. That's why you don't stop scrolling when you find something interesting. You stop for a second, then immediately start searching for the next thing. Because the search itself is the reward. The content is almost irrelevant. When your brain receives more dopamine than it can process, it begins to prune its own receptors. It literally reduces its capacity for pleasure because it learned to expect too much too easily. This is called dopamine downregulation. And it doesn't just make you bored. It makes you incapable of the kind of slow, sustained focus that every meaningful thing in your life actually requires. Your brain hasn't gotten lazy. It's gotten calibrated to a level of stimulation that reality cannot match. That is the trap. And the engineers who built these platforms know it better than you do. B.F. Skinner proved this in the 1950s. Pigeons that got a food pellet every time they pressed. A lever. They pressed it when hungry, then stopped. Rational. Calm. But pigeons that got food on a random, unpredictable schedule, they pressed the lever obsessively, compulsively. They could not stop. The infinite scroll, the variable reward, the unpredictable mix of content that is not an accident. Variability is the mechanism. You are the pigeon, the phone is the lever, and the people who designed it knew exactly what they were building. Here's the part that's more subtle and more damaging. Every time you shift from a meme to a political take to a cooking video to a tragedy, your brain makes a context switch. In a normal life, these happen a few times a day. On a feed, you make 200 to 400 of them per hour. Your brain cannot process them all, so it stops trying. It learns to skim the surface of every experience instead of going under it. Psychologists call this shallow processing. And once it forms as a habit, it doesn't stay on your phone. It comes with you. You skim conversations, you skim books, you skim your own feelings. You stop going deep, not because depth became impossible, but because it became uncomfortable. Too slow, too uncertain, not enough signal, too much silence. And here's where it hits the people watching this kind of content the hardest. You are ambitious, you know it, you've known it for years, but your output doesn't match it. The gap between what you know you're capable of and what you're actually producing keeps getting wider, and you don't understand why, because you don't feel lazy. That gap is the specific wound brain rot inflicts on people like you. It doesn't kill your drive, it paralyzes it. You can see the mountain. You just can't walk toward it for more than 3 minutes before your brain finds somewhere else to look. You feel most alive when you're consuming, and most empty the moment you stop. The silence that follows putting the phone down isn't peace. It's withdrawal. You have ideas, real ones. A project, a skill, something you keep meaning to start. But instead of doing it, you consume more content about doing it. And you mistake the stimulation of the idea for the act of pursuing it. Real people have started to feel slightly boring. Not because they are, but because they can't be edited. They ramble. They don't resolve in 90 seconds. They require you to stay in a moment that's unscripted and uncertain. And your tolerance for that has been quietly collapsing. Here's what you are actually losing. Deep work, the kind that creates original thought, real skill, and genuine output, requires something called sustained attention. The ability to hold a single thread long enough that your mind goes somewhere new with it. Long enough that the obvious answers fall away. That capacity is being destroyed. Not by circumstance, by habit, every day. And then there's the deeper consequence, the one no one talks about. You cannot build a self from borrowed stimulation. Identity is constructed from time spent with your own mind, from discomfort sat with, from thoughts followed to their conclusion. When that is replaced entirely by consumption, you don't become more informed. You become less formed. That vague feeling, smart but empty, busy but purposeless, aware of what you should be doing but unable to do it. That is not a character flaw. That is the predictable output of a mind that has been hollowed out by a system built to do exactly that. Here is where most people get it completely wrong. The standard response is a detox. Delete the apps. Go for walks. Read books. Come back refreshed. And it works for about a week. Then the apps come back. The scroll resumes. And nothing changes, because the problem was never the apps. The problem is what the apps were filling. Think about when you reach for your phone most compulsively, not during deep work, not in a real conversation, not when you're building something that actually matters to you. You reach for it in the gaps, in the silences, in the moments that feel hollow, aimless, or uncomfortable. Brain rot is not primarily a discipline problem. It is a meaning vacuum, and you cannot solve a meaning vacuum with a content restriction. You can remove every distraction from your life and still be a person with nothing to build, nothing urgent to say, and no reason to sit with difficulty. The distraction was just managing the symptom. The counterintuitive truth is this: you don't fix brain rot by restricting. You fix it by replacing. Not replacing one distraction with a better one. Replacing the emptiness that made distraction necessary in the first place. The scrolling is not the disease. It's the immune response to a life that doesn't yet have enough of the real thing in it. When a person is genuinely absorbed in a craft, a problem, a relationship, a project they care about, the phone loses its grip almost automatically, not because they became disciplined, because the competition changed. Boredom is not a problem to be solved. It is a resource being spent the moment you reach for your phone. An unstimulated mind begins to generate, it synthesizes. It connects things. Every significant idea you've ever had came from an unoccupied mind, in the shower, on a walk, staring at nothing. You are systematically eliminating those states. Stop filling every gap. Let the gap work. Change the order. Whatever output matters to you, writing, building, creating, thinking, do some of it before you open a single feed. Not as a reward system, as a calibration. It changes what you consume and how you consume it. You start reading like someone who makes things, with discernment, with purpose, not like someone filling time. The work that matters is always on the other side of the moment you wanted to quit. That is not a motivational line. It is a structural fact about how insight works. The interesting answer is never the first one. It lives past the discomfort. Your ability to stay past friction in a task, a conversation, an idea is the most important cognitive muscle you have. And right now it is atrophied. You rebuild it the same way you rebuild anything, gradually, consistently, by staying 5 more minutes than you want to. Then 10. Then it stops being effort. Past all of the neuroscience. Past the platform design and the dopamine mechanics. What you're really looking at is a simple question. What are you going to do with your one mind? That mind is not broken. It has been rented out, hour by hour, scroll by scroll, to systems that profit from your distraction and have no interest in your development. The reclamation is entirely yours to make, not by becoming a monk, not by logging off forever, by deciding, genuinely deciding, who the author of your attention is going to be. You become what you attend to, not what you intend to attend to, what you actually consistently return to with your time, your focus, and your quiet. That is what you will know, what you will be able to do, and who you will be. Right now, for most people, that thing is a feed. You open this video because some part of you don't want that. Trust that part. It's still there. Underneath all the noise, the only question is how long you're going to make it wait.